Good morning. Day 15, I think, of 100 Days of Making Comics. I'm Jamie Gamble. You can find my stuff on monkeypipestudios.com, jamiegamble.com, and Patreon / Jamie Gamble. Today is the 2nd of July, and issue 1 of the Hero Code is going live on Comixology, which is great news for me and for the collaborators that I work with on the book. Hopefully get some people reading it, which will be fun. It got me thinking a lot. I've been going through the business side for the last couple of days. I've been doing budgets and stuff like that, so it's an important side of making comics. I had this idea a long time ago, and it never quite came to fruition. I was going to write a series of blog articles about how to make comics for free, or as close to free as humanly possible. And there are ways of doing it. There are, especially if you're an artist, and there is obviously always costs, time being the main cost, and your value to that time. So there's no such thing as totally free, but there are ways of getting your work produced and in front of an audience as cheaply as possible. And I always thought it would be an interesting idea, because there are certain cheats that you can use, free websites for hosting, free file sharing services for control and distribution, services that you can put in to sell your comic online, basically moving away from the print model, which I think is a big cost for a lot of independent creators. There are some great services for printing comics, like RA Comics, Greco Comics, Indie Planet, and Kablam, which is their printing service. All of these services offer you the opportunity to print low-run, print-on-demand collections and selling them at shows, which is a great way of getting your books out there. Single copies, as far as I'm concerned, they're very hard to make any kind of money off of. That's something to bear in mind, but it's certainly made it a lot easier for people to have print on demand to get their work out there, whereas in the past it was the offset print model, where you would often print a few thousand copies, or as close to 1,000 copies as you could, to get to a lower price point, and then slowly sell them over time. So there are so many ways of getting your work out there for free, and Comixology is probably, in terms of digital distribution, is the big fish at the moment. It's the way of getting your book in front of as many people as possible. The costs involved are, of course, the cost of producing the work and the cuts that go to the company, but they're fairly small, and it's a good technique, I think. Comixology submit. There are some people who don't like it for ideological reasons, but there you go. You can't have people liking everything for every reason. Clumsy. So can you do it for free? I think if you're an artist, then you can certainly produce work for free. You need the materials, so there's the cost there. You need to be able to scan those. There's ways of scanning. I'm sure you can use library scanners, but again, I think there's costs there. But if you have a scanner, then that's a cost, but it's offset if you use it enough. And there are ways of getting the cost very low to producing work and getting it out there. And I think that's where we're at the moment, is that there's such a multitude of options of getting your work out there that we're seeing. There's always terms like the long tail and phrases like that, where we're basically looking at a bigger pool of opportunity, but it also is a greater signal and noise ratio, so it's harder to get your work noticed, which is an entirely different matter. There's so many other things that can be said about marketing, and I it's one aspect of creating comics that I find really hard. But yeah, production side, it's my favorite part, the production side, and I love exploring these new ways of getting things out. The Patreon was another way. I'm using it as a digital distribution subscription model, effectively, because it's a way of managing everything and keeping everything in one place and keeping track of things. But there are so many other ways. There's Gumroad. You can sell online through your own site as well, using PayPal buttons embedded into the site, especially if you're using Blogger or a free blogging system. You can even post the pages up on that and create pages within the blog and links to those pages, so you're effectively kind of fudging the code to make a online comic. So it's worth exploring all these things. It's worth looking at them and seeing what works for you and seeing what is best of getting your comic out there to people, and finding what makes you happy, I guess. Anyway, I gotta go to work, and I've rambled on for a while. ComiXology, Hero Code, issue 1. Written by me, art by Jonathan Rector, colours by Heather Breckel, and I re-lettered it. It was originally by Bernie Lee, but I re-lettered it. Frank Kavech, however you say his name. I'm so sorry, Frank. I butchered that. It was a relettering because of some sizing and technical issues that ComiXology kept sending back, and it was just easier to get Frank on it because he was working on something else. So that explains that. But it's there. ComiXology. Submit. Hero Code issue 1. Enjoy. Tell your friends, and I will see you tomorrow. Day 15 is done. Well, not done. I'm off to work and going to make some more notes for the next batch of stories. See you later.